560, The Answer.
25 at O'Hare. Next news 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Find holiday gift ideas for you and the family at the leading indoor shooting range, Shoot Point Blank. Check out great savings on ammo, accessories, firearms, and more. Not sure what to get? Shoot Point Blank offers gift cards too. See shootpointblank.com for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Amy Jacobson here, Bruce Wolf, and for Dan Proft. And if you're watching us on our Income Store live video stream, you've noticed we've turned off the lights because we're protesting because it's hot in here. And it's been hot in here for 3 weeks.
Oh, I thought you did it so we could see my lava lamp a little bit better.
No. We need to take a break because I'm about to pass out unless this is their way of slowly.
Sure.
It's like a slow gas leak,
Global warming
slowly getting us out of here. But yeah, big week, Bruce, for you to be here. The House is going to vote full House is going to vote on impeachment. And Chuck Schumer already wants witnesses called forward and was on just a few moments ago on CNN's New Day to talk about people he wants, people like Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton.
What is the only reason Mulvaney should not testify? The only one I can imagine is they're afraid of what he might say, President Trump is.
And President Trump, talked about over the weekend that he wants the whistleblower to testify and he's ready for a long impeachment trial. But are the jurors biased? Jurors such as Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell did not come and call me and ask to do that. Instead, he first spun out his own theory of what a trial should be. And then he said, well, he's going to do just what the president wants. So this letter is an attempt to get it back in the middle, to get it to a fair and balanced trial that's appropriate.
Yeah, and I'm sure Tom Daschle in 1998, when he was the Senate Majority Leader, was consulting with whoever the minority leader was in the Senate at the time about the Clinton impeachment.
Well, it's not like they're hiding that
we make the rules.
They're not. It's not like they're hiding their biased opinions. I mean, listen to Lindsey Graham.
I am trying to give a pretty clear signal. I have made up my mind. I'm not trying to pretend to be a fair juror here.
I want to end it. I don't want to legitimize it. I hate what they're doing.
And Chuck Schumer is saying that's going to stain Lindsey Graham for the rest of his life.
You were shaking your head. Why?
Well, what Lindsey Graham said speaks not of the fairness of the trial or the facts. It speaks of him, and it demeans him. And it will not go down as a great moment in history for Lindsey Graham.
But Chuck Schumer, have you made up your mind?
Haven't you made up your mind on whether you think
I have not.
No.
I am seeking the facts. Again, I don't know what these four witnesses will say.
You're a liar.
Maybe they'll help President Trump. There is allies. There is appointees.
You
want to get the facts under oath.
Sure.
Well, there is hypocrisy, and you're right. What did he do in 1999?
You also voted against admitting new evidence into the Senate trial in 1999.
Well, that's because they jammed it.
Well,
in other words,
no. What's different saying in 1999, I don't want any evidence,
no, we
new
didn't
evidence,
say
no witnesses. You said no new witnesses in 99.
The Republicans could not negotiate a fair bunch of witnesses with the Democrats, and there was a 55-45 vote. That was because it wasn't a bipartisan negotiation. It should be now.
So in 1999,
yes,
President Clinton actually committed a crime.
Yes, he did.
It was a real crime.
There was an obstruction of Congress?
No, in 1999, it was he lied to a federal grand jury. But it was only about sex. The president is supposed to be treated differently from the rest of the public.
Sex means.
Well, there you go.
With more on this, let's welcome to the program Ned Ryun, former presidential writer for George W. Bush, contributor to American Greatness, and the founder and CEO of American Majority. He also is out with a new book. We'll get to that, too. But first, let's begin with this impeachment charade. Good morning, Ned. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Great to be with you.
Yeah, so do you think these four witnesses that Chuck Schumer and others want to testify should, be sworn in and testify during the Senate hearing?
No. I'm actually of the opinion the whole thing has been a sham the last 3 years. I said this on Tucker the other week, that this has been a witch hunt. These investigations have not been actually to investigate what really took place. whether it was the FBI investigation, whether it was the Mueller investigation, whether it was the Democrats. This was nothing but a witch hunt, an attempt to cover up, an attempt to take out the duly elected President of the United States. And seeing what the House Democrats have done over the last several weeks, first of all, the impeachment articles can be summed up this way. Article 1, we hate Trump. Article 2, we have a major case of the SADs because we lost an election in 2016. This is a joke. It's a sham. The total hypocrisy on display by Chuck Schumer is staggering. My dad was in the House during the impeachment of Clinton. They actually had real things where the President of the United States had lied under oath. This is a problem. What they have done is try to, pardon the pun, trump up charges against President Trump that have no merit, have nothing. There is no there there. But I've been making the argument, unlike Lindsey Graham, that if we're going to have a trial, let's have a real trial. Let's give President Trump his due process. Let's give him the chance to actually be exonerated and cleared and have real acquittal from everything that's taken place. So I'm saying, let's have a 6-week trial. Let's have an 8-week trial. Let's have Hunter Biden. Let's have Joe Biden. Let's have Eric Charamella. Let's have Glenn Simpson. Let's have
you
Adam
shouldn't have
Schiff.
said his name. Oh, come on.
Eric Charamella.
No. Oh, we're going to have to delete that.
Who? All right. Well, Chuck Schumer, they asked him just a few moments ago about, getting a subpoena to Hunter Biden.
So I think we should focus on having a fair trial, not dilatory, both sides treated equally, balanced, but getting all the facts to come out. Hunter Biden doesn't add to that. But the bottom line is I haven't seen a single bit, a scintilla of evidence that Hunter Biden would add anything other than show, circus, distraction.
What's your reaction?
Nothing at all, Chuck. I mean, the fact of the matter is there are serious questions about Hunter Biden's involvement with Burisma. There's a lot of questions about why he actually was getting paid anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000 a month. There's some serious questions about all of his behavior in Ukraine over a period of time while his father was the sitting vice president of the United States. So of course he would add real merit. We would like to have him under oath and ask real questions. And my argument's been, not only the names I mentioned earlier, but James Comey and Brennan and Clapper, all these people under oath on national television. I think the American people deserve this. I think the American people deserve to know what has taken place the last 3 years. And again, not only do I do radio, I do TV as well. And, Fox News and Fox Business, great. But when you go on MSNBC and CNN, they were convinced. They were convinced in the spring of 2017 that somehow Donald Trump was literally a Manchurian candidate of Vladimir Putin. And that basically the conspiracy theory was that there were Russians in voting booths in Wisconsin, that somehow the Russians had helped place Donald Trump in the White House. And I'm like, okay, we have put up with your absurdity for 3 years. Now it's time to clear the slate and let's have the American people fully understand with people under oath what has happened. And I think there's been a massive abuse of power, not only of our surveillance state, but our law enforcement regime. I think the mainstream media, it's become extremely clear. They're not reporters. They're not journalists. They're just propagandists of the left. They are literally pushing propaganda of the deep state and the Democrats. It's time to call them into account. I wouldn't mind if some of them were put under oath and put on national television on a Senate trial and ask real questions.
It's like the Jerky Boys. Let's impeach everyone. Here's the thing. It reminds me in 1998, the Democrats, to their credit, they knew how to do this. They put Ken Starr on trial. That's what it turned into. Why can't we put Joe Biden on trial? So there's no problem.
This is my point. No, this is my point. I think that at the end of the day, the American people want to know what are our ruling class, our elites doing in overseas business? Are they basically manipulating a system, which I think is corrupt, by the way? And I think we should have a serious question about how much foreign aid we're sending to the various countries, the billions and billions of dollars, while our infrastructure is crumbling. And have a question, are our ruling class, both Republicans and Democrats, by the way, manipulating a system to actually benefit their family members, because that is not what is intended. And I would argue, the thing that I tell people a lot, what happens in D.C., it shouldn't worry you, what happens that's illegal. What should worry people is what is legalized corruption And that is what people should be concerned about. And I think a lot of what's taken place over the last however many decades is actually legalized corruption. Right. We have to have a conversation about it.
You don't have to worry about us in Chicago. We know about it. We had Rahm Emanuel who sashayed so legally between government and the private sector, and all of a sudden he's midwifing a deal between Bruce Rauner, of all people, and Bill Daley, whom he used to be a fundraiser for. It's, all this incestuous stuff, and he's making $14-15 million, and it's all legal. Yeah, it's the legal stuff that bothers everyone. So you got this book, The Making of the Republic and How We Reclaim It Before It's Too Late, and it's getting rave reviews from lots and lots of people. Can you give us the nub here for the attention deficit people that we cater to right now?
Yeah, no, the genesis for the book was really beginning of the year when, this aggressive socialism and we're pushing back against the squad, the AOCs and the Rashida Tlaibs and the Ilhan Omars, but really Bernie Sanders. I argue that Bernie Sanders already kind of won the 2020 nomination because everybody's pushing his ideas. But how do we push back? How do we push back against socialism? Do we really understand where we've come from and what we're actually fighting for? And the other arguments I've been making along the years, and I put into this book, we have a real problem that began 100 years ago, and a lot of what we're seeing take place now with a corrupt FBI and a DOJ and the DNI and CIA is we dropped an administrative state governing philosophy inside of a constitutional republic about 100 years ago. And at some point, the tension between those two very different governing philosophies was going to come to the surface. And I make the argument, I've made the argument that when Donald Trump showed up, he said, I'm the duly elected president of the United States and this constitutional republic. I'm the one that makes the decisions, both domestic and foreign policy inside of my administration. And the administrative state actors said, nope, we're the ones that make the decision. And Donald Trump said, nope, I don't think so. This is what's actually taking place if you understand, if you look at the different dynamics. And so I lay out in Restoring Our Republic, where did we come from? What was the genesis for this? There were very distinct decisions made several hundred years ago that have led us to be the greatest country the world's ever seen. And lay out the machinery of the republic, how we've drifted from that, and then how do we get back to it? And it's a pretty short read, and I tell people, listen, if you weren't taught real history and civics in school, which sadly a lot of people weren't, take the time. It's about 280 pages. Read the book. You can read it in a long weekend.
I'm a 280 character guy. I'm a 280 character guy, not a 280 page. But it's interesting, because I got my education from Howard Zinn, so don't worry about me.
Ned, Bruce has got to read the 658-page House impeachment report that was just released by the House Judiciary.
But the point
it's an easy beach read. He'll be done soon.
But here's the thing: you bring up this great point, and it's ironic that Congress is now asserting its authority in this case to impeach the president. But basically, they've ceded so much ground to the administrative state.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing that I've been arguing over the decades. This has been going on for decades, where Congress has ceded control and authority to unelected bureaucrats sitting inside this massive administrative state. And I make the point in the opening chapter, we don't even have a precise number of how many departments, agencies, and sub-agencies we have in our federal government. It's somewhere over 430. We know that there are several million federal government career employees. At some point, we have to make a decision. Are we really going to believe in a constitutional republic, or are we just going to concede and surrender to this administrative state idea? And so really not only lay out, again, the idea and the concepts and talk about, Bill of Rights, talk about the idea of diffusion of power. And the founders were really optimistic realists. They were very realistic about human nature. They knew that we were imperfect human beings in an imperfect world. We should never be trusted with concentrated power. Yet we've been given God-given rights of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. How do you actually make those rights and give everybody a chance to pursue them, realizing imperfect human nature? And then I talk about the progressives. They were utopian statists. They were utopians in believing that somehow we could find perfection in this world, and so they wanted to concentrate power inside of a massive bureaucratic state, and actually made the argument that they thought a massive bureaucracy was a sign of societal health. I make the argument it's really not. I think a massive bureaucracy shows that a people have forgotten how to self-govern. And I talk about some of that. If we're going to be a self-governing republic, we need to learn how to self-govern as individuals. The more people self-govern, the freer society we actually have.
All right. Ned Ryun, thank you so much for joining us. Former presidential writer for George W. Bush, contributor to American Greatness, and the founder and CEO of American Majority, in his new book, Restoring Our Republic, Making of the Republic, and How We Reclaim It Before It's Too Late. Thank you so much, Ned, for joining us. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Santa's coming to town. Oh my God!
On AM 560.
Santa here? I know him.
The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
As a retired RN, I know the importance of nutrition. I always have. Good food, it's actually healing you from the cellular level out. I'm living proof of that because for the past decade, I've been dealing with very painful brown spots on my forehead, and the brown spots, they're gone. There's only one thing that changed in my life, and that was taking Balance of Nature.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 25% off of your first order. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual furnace inspection and tune-up. Right now, get big savings on a furnace tune-up. Call 855-1 Hour. Because not taking care of your